All right, good evening. We are live for Monday night. I'm late. I know issues around the house this evening with some plumbing. Had to take care of that and just finally getting into it, getting settled in here to start the live stream for the night. So apologize for being late tonight, but here now. So, how have you been this week? We're going to be having this live stream on StreamYard again. And if anybody wants to join in on the panel, have a live discussion with me face to face, you can join in by following the link I'm going to provide you in the description below. So if anybody wants to join in on the live stream, you can click the link in the comments and see if we can join a live panel tonight and get something going, some sort of discussion with photography, cameras in general. But to start off the evening, I want to talk about some of the new things that Sony has come up with in the alpha rumors, and the first one being an FX10. So, what is an FX10 and why do we need it? So, some of the things I read in the possible specs is a low megapixel APS-C size sensor in the FX30 body, and if that's the, but it has no mounting holes, so no rig attachments, and possibly no audio handle attachment. But why do we need this type of camera in it? And that'd be something to hear your thoughts on. So they're saying it's going to be like a setup streaming camera and a little bit lighter duty than the FX30, but with streaming capability. Personally, when I read that, that made a lot of sense because I would free up my FX30 to stay ready to go. I wouldn't have to keep it hooked up and set up in a live stream. And I see a huge value in that if that is the case, to always have it just permanently up to ready to go for a live stream such as this one. So that would be my thoughts on it. The other thing that'd be kind of interesting is if it is a 10 megapixel camera, is it going to have good low light performance? 10 megapixel on APS-C, some large pixels compared to the 30, or I'm sorry, the 26 that we currently have. And it's going to eliminate, I think, the IBIS as well as no mechanical shutter. I mean, it's just going to be set up for a video stream, be 4K, 60p, no 120 in it, and it won't have as many of the like cinema features so much as the FX30, I believe. But again, having just set up for video streaming, we don't get to utilize everything this camera does when it's in streaming mode. So don't get to pick, all the cinematic modes. Don't get to do any of that. So I'd like to see, better streaming performance, possibly. The 10 megapixels, quick readout right to the computers. Hopefully that'll improve that performance there. Maybe we can get a 4K streaming ability out of it. That would be pretty cool because right now we're limited to 1080, and then of course I'm pretty much limited to 720 with StreamYard right now, being that it's the free subscription that I'm running. It's won't let me select the 1080. It's one of the premium options. But if anybody wants to join in on the live stream and join the panel, just click the link in the comments below, and I'll see you hopefully pop up in here and we can have a discussion about whatever you like. If you're not wanting to go live with me tonight, feel free to hit me up in the comments, ask your questions, anything Sony camera related, anything about myself, try to do my best to accommodate the answers and figure that out. But that going back to the rumor mill and what the FX30 or FX10, I should say, will have. It'll be a low resolution sensor is used for pixel to pixel 4K readout up to 60p. So it'll have 10-bit, but it won't have the 6K downsample or live streaming via 10-bit internal recording or live streaming via full-size HDMI, and eliminates the mechanical shutter. No ND, IBIS, freeing up the performance of the active cooling system. It is the lightest model of the FX line. So again, it might be a very interesting camera to have in the lineup for such a purpose. And I can see that purpose because it's kind of a pain having to set up the FX30 every time for a live stream. I've been joining 2 to 3 live streams a week, including my own that I've been involved with. So, definitely like leaving the camera set up in one spot with the image and everything I've got going on. So tonight I am filming on the FX30 with the 24-105 at probably around 50 millimeter, and the camera's roughly about 8 feet away from me, I'd say right now. And I've got my A7R2, the 85 millimeter, and 24G GM sitting here on the table with me. So anybody has any questions about those, feel free to hit me up. Let's see what else we got going on. Okina has a new 900 millimeter f11 reflex lens. That would be very interesting, I would say. There's a new probe lens, 18 millimeter f8 macro, will be announced on May 29th. It's an Astrahori 18 millimeter. So I don't know if you've seen I think it's the Laowa 24 millimeter probe lens. It's that big giant tube lens that comes off the front of the camera, so you can send it through narrow little slots of product photography, get up close. Something similar for that. Let's see what else we have here going on in the rumor mills tonight. Viltrox is a 16 millimeter lens coming out. Oh yes, this is another new one we've got coming out, is a possibility of a 7200G lens Mark II. Might be 30% smaller than the predecessor. So that's saying a lot. If you haven't ever shot the 7200 lens, the f4, the original G lens that Sony had, this is one of the earliest lenses they've had on the E-mount full frame lineup. It's an incredibly small and lightweight lens. I actually really enjoyed shooting with it. I actually rented it from a fellow photographer in the area and took it to the zoo, and was very impressed with the camera, the lens on my A7R2, with the ability to reach out in the zoo environments to the elephants and giraffes, and the detail you're able to pull off. And that lens's resoluting power was more than enough for the A7R2. I mean, it was very, very impressive. But the thing that impressed me most about that lens is that it's so light to carry. It's small and compact. I mean, really, it's no bigger than this 85 with the lens hood out, I would say. And its internal zoom, I mean, it's a smaller lens. It's a great lens. I always liked it. I thought about getting one to kind of complement my 24-105, but now that there's a Mark II coming out, it'll have macro capability, and then more compact. I mean, than the original. It's impressive to say the least, because the original one is already pretty compact and lightweight, I thought. Now, you grab the GM version of that lens, the 70-200 2.8, you've got a piece of glass in your hands. It feels there's a weight to it. And I haven't held the Mark II, so if anybody out there has, let me know in the comments if you've got something from the 70-200 2.8, if it's just as lighter, or how it compares, if you've been around both lenses. I'd love to hear that feedback. All right, let me get in here and check some things out real quick. So just if you are in the room and you want to let me know, make sure I'm sounding okay. My mic wasn't charged, so I'm actually running this audio off the laptop tonight. I'd like to hear how that's working for it. I've heard in the past it actually sounds really good. So just let me know if you have any problems hearing me. And also, let me see here. If there's any streaming problems, I'd love to know if there's any lags or delays in the stream of the video quality. Now, we are only transmitting in 720p, but I'd like to know if there's any latency or any lag or shutdown or heavy pixelation, because I am looking at my current upload speeds out, because I am doing more of this live now, and I'm concerned with my upload link, which is all in wireless from the laptop to my router, and I'm looking at possibly upgrading my router to something a little more modern, as it is several years old, and I exactly didn't buy the newest one when I bought that one. I didn't buy the newest one, I should say. So I'd like to hear thoughts on the stream and everything in the comments. Just let me know how everything's looking, how it's working and sounding. I will probably try to turn on the microphones at some point here as I get that one charged up, but I went to go turn it on and it was dead. So let me see here. We've got. So yeah, they're saying that the new version 7200G lens is going to be up to 30% shorter. That's considerable considering the original one is quite small already. So the other thing that came out this last week was the ZV-1 Mark II, and I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on that camera, if that was something you were interested in or not, and also if you would think it's worth the upgrade from the old classic ZV-1 here. To me, I didn't see a huge benefit to wanting to upgrade to this, other than, of course, the lens being a 16-50 equivalent would be a much more improvement to this. But they got rid of the steady shot, and it's only active, so it's a kind of a decline in that regard. They moved the tripod mount over to the other side, which I think is a huge benefit. But they didn't upgrade the battery. Again, we're back to the X battery. I think there's more than enough room here to increase the handle size to sit a W series battery in it. I mean, I think they could have had a winner there if they had done that. If they had just beefed up that handle just a little bit, we could be sliding the W series battery in here, and I bet you a W series battery in this camera would run all day long. So I would like to see that done still on a newer version, but the screen looks like about the same screen. I think it has the same polarization problem, which when I'm outside with my sunglasses on and you turn the screen in a certain way, you cannot see it, and that's quite annoying. But yeah, it looks like they gave it some newer autofocus features, but no new video features as far as its recording ability. It's still an 8-bit camera. So yeah, is it worth the upgrade? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that too this evening. If the ZV line is something you're following or not. I really do enjoy my ZV-1. I try to use it when I'm out and about, just with the family, or just want to keep it light with me throughout the day. I keep it in my laptop bag sometimes just to have a decent camera, other than the iPhone. Now the iPhone still is substantial and really good, but is it worth carrying a camera like this these days? Let me hear your thoughts on that too. So if you're wanting to join the live stream, in the comments, you can see that link from me. It says StreamYard.com, and with my activation link, if you click on that and go into StreamYard, you will be able to join me live in this broadcast if you so wish. And I'd love to have you on and meet you and see you face to face. So if it's something you want to do, hit me up. If not, hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you got going on with the any questions or concerns or anything of that nature. And being that I haven't seen any comments, there's the first one. PK, good evening, Malcolm. Good to see you. You too, PK. Whereabouts are you from, if you wouldn't mind me asking? Just like to get a feel of where everybody's at in the world and what times work best for everybody. Because I try to start this around 9 p.m. Central, and tonight I was running late. A little bit of a plumbing issue here in the house and kept me away for a while. So I was running about an hour late on that one. Oh, Las Cruces. All right. Yeah, you're not too far. I'm here in West Texas. Yeah, you're about probably 5-6 hours away. But Las Cruces, been to that town a few times. Real pretty over there. So what are you shooting, PK? I've been trying to get out to do some storm photography, and we've had some good storms traveling through, but the conditions just haven't lined up for me to be out in front of it to get nice lightning shots and the stuff coming in at me, and haven't had that just the lineup work out for me yet. So I've been wanting to get out and try to get some nice lightning photography done and some storm action, but just hasn't worked out yet this season. And I know the season's been really short and dwindled. We haven't had a whole lot of it, and every time one has come through, it's late. Like I'm too late to get out in front of it or do something. So PK says he's shooting the A7R2. All right. So just a quick question for you guys, because I'm trying to make sure I'm connecting with all of you guys. What led you to the A7R2? And then let's see, we got a comment here from Cooley. Hey, from Hobart, Indiana. It's going Cooley. Cooley, is that the Cooley that we've been on together with before? Can't recall if his last name. It sounds like the last name's right. I'm assuming it's you. In fact, I think it is. I remember your little your image of the harp. So I appreciate you showing up. And yeah, back to the storms though. Yesterday, me and my wife drove up north into the Panhandle, and I mean through some of the farm country and the clouds, just the early morning uh, sun rays coming in through the clouds, and then we had some of the wildflowers like on the side of the road, and I didn't take my camera, and I should have, but looked absolutely incredible with the sunbeams coming through the clouds and just this really moody atmosphere of the clouds just kind of swirling around and just kind of burning off that early morning, and some of the light was just epic. But we were trying to make some time to get up to, we were actually headed to Lubbock and get up there to do some shopping for a trip we've got coming up. And I didn't grab any of the camera stuff, but that morning was really cool looking up there. And it makes me want to go up there and explore that farm country a little bit further and get out. So I might be planning on trying to do that here before too long, before the weather disappears and it gets just miserably hot. Would be my plan. But yeah, it's definitely some good photography up in that area. I think I want to definitely explore it and get out more. And up there, the storms coming through that whole area. I mean, just the flooding, the hail, I mean, they just get ravaged in that area. So you'd have to really be on your game and knowing where you were at, because I've been around some of this stuff when it's coming at you, and you get that hail front, and we've had. I mean, it would be normal for us to see golf ball sized hail in this area, but you can also get softballs and grapefruits, and it can be quite detrimental if you're caught out in that. So you'd have to have some sort of shelter to protect you, your vehicle, and all that, because golf ball, or I mean, the golf balls will not sound pleasant on your vehicle, but I tell you what, the grapefruits coming down will smash through the windshields or your back windows if you're not careful out there in it, and definitely. Is something you got to watch out for when you're doing these storm chases. But the best way to see it is as it's coming at you. You get the lightning bolts out here, just incredible what you can actually capture. But you can get enough time and get far enough ahead of it, then it works out pretty good. All right, we got Tamron 24mm f2.8, Sony 51.8, and Sony FE 85.1.8. Looking to get the Sony 21.8 and the Tamron 28-200. Yeah, that looks like a good kit right there. I've wanted to get the 85-1.8, and actually I've thought about replacing the G Master with that lens for two reasons. One, the size and the weight of it, and two, the noise out of this for video. And since I'm primarily video right now, the noise out of this lens is horrendous. So unless you're shooting B-roll, it's not really a usable lens for that. But the 85-1.8, that's a crisp lens for the price point, and it's also very quiet in its autofocusing. So I've been tempted to to maybe let this one go and get something like that and a couple other little lenses. But I'd like to get a 10 to 20 for this camera, since now that they've got that little 10 to 20 power zoom. I think that'd be a great little gimbal setup for that camera, and maybe the 85-1.8. I haven't had much experience with the Tamrons. The 28-200, that's a nice range for that lens. I would say that would be well worth it having. The 20-1.8 is on my hit list. I'd like to pick one of them up, and I've had numerous copies of the Sony 50-1.8, and I've always just gotten rid of them. I find myself not using it over some other lenses, and some of the my favorite photographs I've taken have been with that 50-1.8. So definitely worth picking that one up. Trixie Gaming waving in on the room. How's it going? Nice to see you again in the stream. Anybody wants to join in? Get you guys a current link here. Anybody wants to join in on the panel? You can click and follow that link in the comment section, and you can join in with me on this live panel and have a discussion face to face. I was just watching the Celtics Heat game. How's the game going? I don't follow sports, so I'm lost on that one. I do enjoy watching some sports shows every now and then. Like to get in, and just watch a good game where there's a good competition going on. I have never been a fan of any particular team or sports type. It's if there's good competition and a good solid game going on, I'm entertained by that alone. Yeah, you're good. Celtics lost game 7. All right. All right. So you guys bring up the questions you want to talk about. Any questions for me, feel free to hit me up. I've pretty much covered the topics I had for the beginning of this. We've talked about the Sony Alpha rumors. I still like to see some more specs on an A6700 possibly. What might that camera be? I do miss having my A6000 as just a little photography camera, so I would be very enticed to see what kind of top-end pro model they kind of release in the APS-C line for photography. If it's a rangefinder, or if they actually end up making something similar to like the A7 with the center viewfinder and a body of like an A7 R5 essentially. If they made something like that in a 6000 series camera, that would be cool. I have a feeling that the 6700 would be a copy of something close to the A6600, but I think there's a market out there for a really high-end professional, like full frame type body with APS-C sensors, and they've done it now with the FX30 from the FX3, and it works. I mean, so I'd like to see something like that. Yeah. So as I was just talking about the 6700, I was actually walked into Best Buy today and was walking around. And our Best Buy here is just dismal. It's horrible. But the camera display in my little Best Buy here in town is rather unimpressive. They have a 6100 with the 16 to 50 kit lens, and they had a 6400 with 18-135, and no stock at all. And in fact, all the photography stock, all the DJI stuff, the drones, everything was just completely wiped out. The drones that were on display had broken arms. They were all messed up. It was just not clean at all. And I was kind of like saddened by it, because the other store nearby actually got a full remodel and upgrade, and they've got the full lens wall for Sony, Canon, and Nikon all in the store, and they have like a photographer, or not a photographer, but a camera specialist in the store per se. And they have all the G Master lenses all on display. They have about 7 or 8 different bodies on display. It's a very much nicer display to go in and mess with the cameras and actually kind of test out some of the features they have. But yeah, I'd be like to see see that improved locally just for my own interest. Is there a big difference between the 6700 or 6400 picture video wise? I know it has a bigger battery and buttons, but bigger. So the 6700 is still a rumor right now. The 6600 has the bigger battery, but it's still an 8-bit camera as far as video concerns, and it still has the same original A6000 sensor in it. So all the 6000 series cameras have the same sensor in them. The only thing nice about the 6500 and 6600 was they got IBIS put in it, where the 6400 does not have an IBIS. So picture video wise, they're identical. I don't think there's much of a difference there. The 6600 getting the bigger battery. So if they do make a 6700, I'd like, my wish list would be, obviously it's going to get the bigger battery, I think, at this point. But I'd like to see it a full 10-bit video functionality camera with 4K 120. I'd like to see it have a 33-ish, 36 megapixel sensor in it. And I'd want it to have the A7R5 screen on it. That would be my 3 main items I would like to see happen. This sounds like the Las Cruces Best Buy. Yeah, it's, some of them are really good. Some of them are just really bad. And when I was in Lubbock, I didn't get to go into Best Buy there, but I imagine it was a newer Best Buy they built in Lubbock, so I don't think it's as nice as like the Midland Best Buy is. But if Sony does release a 6700, which I have a feeling with it being the rumors out there, and they haven't seen an A6000 release in a while. And when they did, I want to say it was around 2020 when they brought out the 6100, the 6400. We haven't seen a 6200 yet, so that slot's open. I think they can make two new cameras. The 6700 would be a great, high performance, high professional like camera on that end, and then open up the 6200 slot and put that as the entry level camera, but give it the 10-bit video footage, like 4K 60, maybe still a 26 megapixel sensor, no IBIS, stuff of that nature. But I think they need to get the prices down on those cameras, because it seems like the market isn't there on the 6000 series for the pricing of which you can buy some of these full frames, cameras are used. And I don't know what their plan is for it, but I fully suspect a 6700 is probably going to cost at least $1,500 for body only at this point, if not be right at the 1800 like the FX30. But they priced the ZV-1 at $900. So what does that leave us for the market in an APS-C line? I mean, I think gone are the days of the 6000 for $600 with 2 lenses. I mean, that's what I paid for mine at Best Buy during like a Christmas promotion, and that was $1,000 kit. But I don't think we're going to see that again. So is there a market for the low end APS-C camera still, or are they going to replace it with the ZV line, which is the ZV-E10 essentially, and then move into a photography basis of that camera and have the 6700 or a 6200, or what are they going to do? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Keep talking. Throat goes dry. I run out of water. All right. So, one of the things I do want to talk to you tonight about is shooting the A7R2 here. And one of my favorite subjects with photography is astrophotography. And that's using the 24 millimeter lens here on this camera. Get this cleared out. This little setup right here for astrophotography just blows my mind. And while I do want to buy like a tracker, star tracker, so I can start doing some more deep field imaging with a telephoto, such as the 8514, or even be able to shoot f4, f8 on an image and just let it just soak in that time. I'd like to start doing some of that photography. So I'd like to hear if anybody else has had any experience with that. But this summer, I do want to go out and try to get down to like Terlingua and do a Milky Way shoot. And those are kind of the things, going down there. It's hot down there, so at least it's at night when it cools off a little bit. But I do want to get something together to do a trip down there this summer and do some Milky Way and kind of explore that area. So if anybody's ever been down or done any Milky Way photography, or if you need any assistance in the low what do you call it, the low light pollution areas, let me know. I've got some experience with it and finding it, and let me know if it's something that would be interesting to you guys. But astrophotography for me is one of my favorite genres of photography. It lets you, you're just looking back in time with it, and it's such a cool, interesting aspect of photography, because photography is like a time machine in a sense, and it's like you can capture a moment in time with a camera and lens, and the second you capture that moment's over and gone. And that's why when we're out and we see something really cool, we want to take a picture of it, and then we don't get that opportunity. It's like you can't just go back to that spot and recreate it, because the lights changed, the clouds have changed, everything that made it a good image is gone. And that's one of the reasons why I always try to carry my camera with me, because when you see that moment, you're like, hey, there's a shot right there, I want to go get it. And I don't always have my camera with me, so it's like, you don't want to, you want to like just, it's like you just get so frustrated. At least I do, that I'm not ready for that, and you're seeing all this amazing beauty or just epicness in front of you, and you can't get that shot. But astrophotography, what's interesting about it is even though it's constantly changing, it's not really changing, and it's just, you can go out and practice a specific shot in it, and every day is going to be a different time, but you're looking back in time, and be able to capture something from back in time. And that's what I find amazing about any of the imaging from the Hubble telescope, or the James Wood telescope. So the imaging that it can capture is just so incredible. And be able to just throw your camera on a tripod in your backyard, essentially, and point at the sky and take those images. It's amazing what you can actually see. And that's where I wanted to get into the like a star tracker. And I've been wanting to buy a star tracker for that reason, so I can start doing, like I said, more of a deep field photography, and start doing stacked images. I really want to capture my own Andromeda image, and I'd like to do that, because I don't know if you're aware, but if you can see Andromeda with your naked eye in the sky, it would look like if you put the moon up in the sky next to it, you could cover Andromeda with 4 of our full moons in the sky. And that's how massive of it is. And you can get incredible imaging of it if you let the light soak in for it. But it's so far away and so faint in the sky that our eyes can't always perceive it. You can sometimes see it if it's dark enough, but the cameras can capture it so much better. And when you shoot the sky at 24 millimeters, you'll see how small the moon is. But if you can capture Andromeda on the 24 millimeter, you can see that it's actually quite large in your image compared to what a full moon would be, because it's such a wide image. The moon really shrinks down really small. So if you were to shoot Andromeda on a 200 millimeter lens, you could have almost a full image frame of it. And it's crazy to me to think that something so far away, that's a whole other galaxy, can fit on a sensor like that, and you can get such great detail. So that's one of the things I've always wanted to dive into and get an image of for myself. because I love looking at these people's photographs of it and all the different, coloring they choose. Because I mean, you don't get to see all the coloring that it gets. You get to kind of set up and color those images for yourself and how you want to best represent it. I would like to do that and get my own metal prints of it made. And I love doing metal prints. And if anybody's ever have never printed any of your work, I would highly suggest it to do it on metal, because metal just makes an image pop. I think is some of the closest like screen resolution images is like looking at it on metal to me. It's my opinion, but big format prints are awesome, and I love to do any kind of printing you can, but definitely like having it on metal. All right, let's see. I thought there was a way I could put a poll on here, but I don't see any way to do it. I know there was a way to do it. Somebody else had done it. Let me see here. No. All right. Well, I haven't had any complaints about the video quality or sound. Let me know if you are experiencing any of that or any latency or lag in the image quality. I'm trying to monitor that right now, is because I don't have the best upload speeds on the wireless in my house, and I'd like to see if that's something I need to improve or not. So let me know if the image quality is really at all pixelated or just looks poor. Like I said, we are only filming and broadcasting in 720. I'm filming in 1080 to my Mac, but the image quality I'm seeing on my display looks fantastic at 720. I'm just curious if there's any audio issues or video quality issues on your guys' end, because I do feel like my upload speeds are inadequate for most things I do, and it takes forever for it to upload like a video to YouTube or anything like that. And the only thing I contribute to is just my wireless router is probably just not up to the task. To get in here and see. Let me make sure this is working over there. All right, good deal. All right, so sorry for that delay there. Any questions for me? Hit me up in the comments section, and I'll be happy to answer what I can. And if anybody has anything they'd like to discuss or like me to touch on, let me know. I had a pretty crazy on the last live we did. I had to get off the battery grip of my A7R2, which got stuck to it, and it was not a fun experience. I don't know if he's still in the room or not. I believe Trixie Gaming was still there, if I'm saying that right. But we had to disassemble and dismantle and break this battery grip. Cover my face. To get it off the camera. And the reason why, this is the Vallejo battery grip I had. And the thumb wheel that tightens it to the 1/4-20 mount or the tripod mount of the camera stripped out, so you can spin it without turning that. And that definitely caused some headaches and problems for me. So anyways, we got it apart finally, and I'm down a Vallejo battery grip. So I've been thinking I'd want to get an L bracket for this camera, as I have a tripod now that has the what do you call that mount? The Manfrotto mount? I can't remember. But anyways, I've been thinking about getting an L bracket for this camera, and something that will be able to mount it both ways on a tripod. So I've been looking at some of those. One of the biggest things is got to be able to access the battery compartment with it on. I did have a hand grip extension that was great for the pinky, but it blocked up the battery door, and that was not any good for that. So if you want to join me live, you can follow the link in the comment section, and we can join live right here on StreamYard and get a live panel discussion going. It's an interesting concept. I don't think a lot of people are doing it on YouTube these days yet, but I've been involved with a couple of them now that I've been joining in on, and I really enjoy the format and be able to connect with other people, around YouTube. And it's not just YouTubers doing it. You've got just other photographers out there who are not on the YouTube platform, but watch YouTube or stay connected with friends. And this multi-streaming platform is an interesting concept, and I really do enjoy it. And I think it's a great way to connect with people. All right, we got Angel Martinez. What's the best budget camera for live streaming? Need a Sony E-mount one. Budget wise, I believe the new ZV-1 Mark II has streaming capability for, I think it's a $900 camera, and it will do streaming out of a USB-C port that it's got. So that to me sounds like a great budget camera. I am currently using my Sony FX30 for it, and it works great. But it's, the thing about this camera is it's my daily driver too. So I'm always having to take it up and take it down to do video work that I'm doing or my YouTube projects. I'm always using this camera. Now, the rumor mill that I started out with on this stream tonight, the rumor mill shows an FX10. The FX10 has the same body as the FX30, but it might have less features. It won't have all the body mounting holes. It won't have a high resolution sensor. It's going to be strictly like a 4K camera with a 10 megapixel sensor is what the rumor specs are. And it's like purpose with high-end cooling, so the sensor can run for long periods of time, and it can run streaming. So to me, I'd be interested in just having that set up on 100% ready to go live stream. And the reason why is, like as I've stated earlier in this stream, is I'm now becoming, other than my own stream, I've been involved with some people's other streams, and through platforms such as StreamYard, allows us all to connect live in a video panel with different people. So it's a very cool concept I do like, and so one I want to continue to probably invest in. But I think the best budget one right now that does streaming would be the new ZV-1 Mark II. Now, because it's not out, what does that leave you with? I believe the ZV-E10 has the streaming capabilities. I'm trying to think when they started it all. I want to say you could do it with the A7 III, and pretty much every camera since then has had the ability. So I'm pretty sure I used my A7 III to do a video conference call before. In fact, I know I did. And that camera was able to do it. And you can pick them up used for around $1,200, $1,500. So that would be another option to do it. Now, as streaming technology advances, I'd say the newer ones might be a better option and better fit. One important key detail I learned with the FX30 is you're going to have to invest in a really good USB-C cable. I picked mine up from B&H. I can't remember exactly which model it was, but it's about it's a 2 meter cable, and like I said, the camera's just from the laptop to the camera is almost probably about 6 feet, and the cable stretched across the room to reach. But it's the nice part about it is it's got a 90-degree out of the back of the laptop, so it comes right out of the side. In fact, I'll lift it up so you can kind of see it. That cable comes right out of the side of the laptop, goes straight back and leads off to the camera. So definitely, whatever camera you end up buying, make sure you get a USB-C cable that can handle it. You're welcome. And is StreamYard free? Is that what they're using to stream? So StreamYard has the free program, and that's the one I'm reading. That's why we get the little duck with the StreamYard headphones on up in the corner. I can live stream with this setup on YouTube directly to my YouTube Live. And when you do the StreamYard, you set up to broadcast out. And what's nice about that is I can not only do just my YouTube at the same time, but I could go to Facebook, I think Twitter or Instagram. I can do live at all those platforms all at once through StreamYard. So that's one thing I do like about StreamYard. It's like a $50 a month program if you pay for it, but it gives you allows you to have more people on your panel. It gives you a lot more little features inside the program, I think, as well as 1080 streaming. And then, of course, you lose their little watermark here in the corner, but everything else about it. You get unlimited streaming. I'm limited to 20 hours of streaming per month on the free platform. That's the other thing, which to me seems like more than enough. So if I'm using it for my own lives, I do this once a week. That gives me 5 hours to do a live stream every once a week. That seems more than adequate for me, as most of my lives aren't more than, they're anywhere from an hour to 2 hours long. I like to grow that. And as it does, maybe the channel and the live platform develops for me, I'll definitely look into, possibly signing up for something like StreamYard or one of the other ones. But it is free, and that's what I'm using to stream right now. But yeah, if you do want to, you can. One thing nice about the StreamYard is I can just you can click in to the panel, and I give you my comments here. You'll see a link. You can click that link and go right into StreamYard and log in essentially, and become. We split the screen into two individuals, and we can chat that way, as well as you're broadcasting on the live at that point on my live. It's a cool concept, and it's been a great way to allow others to join in. And I like the ones I've been involved with. I've been involved with Robert Silver Photography. He's got a YouTube channel, and he does it once a week on Thursday nights at I want to say his starts at 5 p.m. Pacific. Another one I've been part of is AP Studios with Chuck. He's been a great one to join in on. He has a lot of people in his, and it can go out for quite a while. These streams will go 4 or 5 hours easily. So it's a fun platform to be involved with, and you can chime in with your thoughts and feelings. And those guys are mostly Nikon shooters. So I'm a Sony shooter, and I've got I want to build something like they have for the Sony community. But we are all open as photographers, and that's been a very nice thing. What's the difference between the FX30 versus the FX3? I know the sensor is different. All right, so yes, the FX3 has the 12 megapixel A7S3 sensor, and basically the full A7S3 body in that camera. I believe it has a mechanical shutter. I'm not 100% certain on that, but the FX30 does not have a mechanical shutter, which you only need for photography. And I've taken 0 pictures with my FX30. Excuse me. So I've taken 0 pictures with my FX30, so that hasn't been an issue for me. Now I do want to go out and put it through the pictures paces and see what it'll do, but that's one of the biggest differences, I would say. The way to tell the bodies apart, other than the FX30 logo on top, is the FX30 has black screw holes in the body mounting holes, and the FX3 has gold. Functionality of the cameras, though, there's not a lot of difference. I mean, I haven't played with an FX3 myself. I have a buddy in town who has an A7S3, and everything it does. One of the benefits the FX30 has that the FX3, I think, just recently got to the firmware update was focus breathing compensation. The FX30 came with it out of the box when it was released, and they just barely released that option in the FX3 to not breathe when you're filming. So if you're not familiar with that, is this 24 millimeter is notoriously bad for it. When you're filming and as it's changing focus, you see the image, the whole picture kind of, let me get my hands in here, the whole picture kind of shifts and moves around, and it can be quite distracting to your quality of the video you're trying to put out. So that's one of the biggest differences. But like I said, that's been resolved through firmware now. The other big benefit that the FX30 has over an FX3 is the 6K downsample. So because we're filming on a 26 megapixel sensor, even though it's APS-C, we're actually recording at a higher resolution of 6K, and then the camera's internally downsampling it out to 4K. So as we saw with the A7 IV versus the A7S III, you get a little bit sharper image. When you really dive into the image, it actually looks sharper than what the FX3 could produce. Now, the FX3, though, on the other hand, if you're shooting low light, that thing's going to be king and just obliterate this FX30. The FX30, I've done some low light video footage with it. I am blown away at the quality of footage you get on the base 800 ISO or the 2500 ISO. But the A7S III sensor and the FX3, we're talking 12,800 base ISO, like no noise at that ISO. So is it worth $2,000? No, I don't think it is. But it really comes down to what you're doing with it, because if it's if you're major production or you're going to be in the dark a lot, it's probably worth the investment to the FX3. That being said, my fast 1.4 glass at 2500 base ISO on the FX3 is amazing. I mean, I'm not disappointed at all by it, and it looks really good. And if you go into my channel, I've got a couple of videos with image quality tests of it in low light, and I'm even learning as I go with this camera, because stepping into the 10-bit world with them, I've learned quite a bit of how to shoot and how to expose for different log functions and when where not to use them. So that's all stuff I've been playing with. But so far for the FX30, and I bought the audio handle with mine, so I paid $2,200 for it, and I think that's what $3,800 for the FX3, and it comes with the handle. If it would be, it's a big price difference for just the sensor, and there's not much else benefiting in the body terms anymore. I think they're almost identical cameras, other than what that sensor can capture in low light. And I mean, it's full frame, but that to me is in video is negligible, because I mean, some of the image quality you can get out of the APS-C is great. Now I'm shooting on an f4 lens right now with my 24-105 on this stream, and you can see the background. It's kind of blown out, a little bit different, but not terrible. It's not really drawn out like when I shoot the 24. But I wanted to change up my look in here for the stream, so I switched to like the 24-105 to shoot 50 millimeter, which is a 75 millimeter equivalent, to get me a little larger on the screen for the live streams. Thanks. I definitely enjoy the StreamYard next time. I'm going to sign off right now. Good night, everyone. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Angela. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button for me. It helps tremendously. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you. And if you are in the channel or on the thing, you want to check out and join the live stream, make sure you follow this link right here, and it'll get you into StreamYard. and you can join with me live. And it's not bad, guys. It's fun to be live. I know it's can be intimidating if you're not used to being behind the camera, but you can just use your phone even just to drop in, say hi. Don't have to stick around. And I'd love to have anybody's input on joining so I can kind of see what it's like to have somebody join your stream, because that's all news to me too. When I talk so much, it's like I keep drinking water. Trying to think, go back to. So I bought the FX30. Pretty much I knew when I saw the camera release, I was like, that's the camera I want. And I sold the A7 III for it. I mean, I was dead set in buying this camera because it's just everything in a video camera I wanted, other than the full frame. But I had the 6400 before I bought the A7 III, and I sold the A6400 to get the A7 III. It's nice having full frame. Since I have full frame glass, it's obviously nice having full frame, but I don't have a problem running any of that on APS-C cameras. And honestly, the longer I've been into photography and doing this, the more I've wanted to downsize the equipment. Like I get tired of carrying around all this heavy glass, and I've sold my 100-400. I've had a 35 Zeiss. I sold that also to pick up the FX30. I'm down to just the 3 lenses now, and while I still want more lenses and I'd love to have my 100-400 back, I get tired of carrying the weight around with me everywhere I go, and my bag got so full where it was just plumb packed all the time. It weighed a ton, and I just wanted to always change that mentality for myself of what to pack and what to carry. So I started carrying selectively, and I always hate doing that because it's like, man, what if I see something I need the 100-400 for, and I want that lens to capture it, So it's like, well, what do you do? But the APS-C lineup is smaller and lighter, and you buy APS-C glass, it's smaller and lighter than the full frame counterpart, and they're making some really good glass now for the APS-C line. I've always wished they would make a little mini GM line or trifecta for APS-C alone. Give us a 16-35 or a whatever focal range, whatever equivalent. But they kind of did with the G series. They gave us that 16-55 2.8. And while it's been I think a great lens they came out with, it's super pricey. It's right up there with GM pricing. So for an APS-C glass, it's hard to justify spending $1,600 on that when I can buy the full frame equivalent used for that price. And that's been my dilemma on that, because I do want to get a 16-35, but haven't pulled the trigger on one of them yet. And I know the Mark II is right around the corner, so it's like I don't want to buy the original one if they've got something newer, lighter coming out. And the new 24-70 Mark II is incredibly small and light. It's got the aperture dial. It feels like a really nice lens. Well, I think I covered all the topics I have, unless somebody has anything else they want to discuss tonight. I think I'm going to call it a night, guys. We'll get to an hour here. We're at 59 minutes so far on this live. So if you have any last questions or comments you want to shoot at me, send them my way. And make sure, if you are planning on joining me on the next one, there'll be the links in the description. It won't be this link tonight, but the link in the description will get you into StreamYard and allow me to have somebody join in. I can have, I think, up to 6 people join in on the panel live with me. So if you want to join in live and have a discussion with me, you can click that link in the description, or in the comments, I should say, and you can join me live on StreamYard's platform here. I do like this StreamYard. It's working out well. Like it when the ones I've been on, it works really well. So if it's something you guys would want to do, feel free to join in there. Otherwise, hit me up in the comments if there's questions or comments. And that's about all I got for you tonight. I don't think there's anything else coming in. But if you guys want to join me live, I'll kind of let the show just kind of run itself and see where it goes. I love answering your guys' questions or having any comments come my way. It gives me something to talk about and help me help you guys. If there's anything you'd like to see from me, review wise, or anything specific you'd like to see me do a video on, this is a great opportunity to let me know what that is. I am a Sony shooter. Got an A7R2. I got an FX30. We've got the 24-105, the 24mm G Master, and the 85mm G Master, and that's my arsenal right now. Now I have access to multiple other cameras and lenses, so if something else I don't have, let me know, because I've got friends with other camera kits also. And I'd like to see if there's any other new comments, or any other new content you'd like to see me create about around my channel, or if you have questions about anything specific, I'd like to hear what your thoughts on that is, because I'm always having difficulty figuring out what the next video is going to be. So, and if you haven't watched my latest video about shooting the A7R2 with concert photography, I go through a couple of my experiences with shooting that, and also showcase the Luminar Neo editing software that they asked me to look at and tell you guys about. And so far, I'm impressed with it. It really helped bring photography back to an easy thing for me, because I want to just make it. I want to make editing simple. I sit down for hours on end editing videos, and when I have to sit down and do that for photos, I lose interest in it, because I just don't have the interest in clicking through photographs and like fine tuning or detailing them, or doing masks and all that stuff. Now, so much of this new AI software out there is doing that for us. And the debate is, and it's probably another content or another topic for another day, but the debate with that is like, are we even photographers or artists if we're just clicking buttons to let the computer figure it out for us? And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Is it something that we're losing by trusting the computers to do this stuff for us? So obviously, as the artist, we're in control of what we create and what we put out in the world, but the computer has a button that helps us to help relight it or to change the lighting, and we adjust it as need be. And to me, that just makes it so much easier and so much less time consuming. Because early on, when I first got this camera, and this thing's shooting 85 megabyte raw files, and all I had was a little i5 like desktop all-in-one Lenovo combo, it annihilated that computer. Like, that computer, I'd sit there and render a photo out of Lightroom for 20-30 minutes sometimes. It was just so bad and just horrible. And then when I finally bought an Alienware that had processor and video graphics and all that, it just live sliders. You can make adjustments and not have to wait for it to render. It was great. But photography for me is already a side hobby that I have to try to find time to do. And then finding time to edit those images is just as challenging. So having a simple editing software for me, such as Luminar Neo, lets me dive into the edits much quicker, and I can make adjustments easier, because I don't have to sit there and mask out a subject or make a massive change on a layer system. And to me, that just it works so much easier, and it makes it much more enjoyable for me to take pictures and try to get edits out of. Now it does all the sky replacements, and I'm not so much a fan of those features, even though it works really well. I still like to capture the essence of the photograph as it was shot and like find my own epic skies to put in them. Not change them, but like actually find the scene that I want to shoot and capture it like it was. That to me is like more or less a real photography, not a composition. And these programs now with these composition tools allow you to change out the skies or change out the lighting of the image, move the sun. I mean, it's all powerful and incredible devices that can do that, but it kind of takes away from the reality of it. And I think I still am a purist in the reality of the image I capture. I just change the colors and lighting of it a little bit, but I still want the image to be as real as it was when I was there and shot it, if that makes any sense. So, well, if there's nothing else, you guys, I'm going to probably call it a night. So remember, Mondays at 9 p.m. Central is the live night for me. You can also join me and find me on the panels usually, and at some point in time, not always right when they open up, but you can also find me Thursday night at Robert Silver Photography. Sometimes I'm there. Definitely check out those guys. They're very helpful, very welcoming group of photographers. They are very professional in how they do things, and just a good group of guys overall. So if you want to check them out, Robert Silver Photography over there on his channel on Thursday nights. He does it live as well as his regular YouTube channel. You also find Chuck at AP Studios. He does live stream usually on Saturday night, I believe. It can be very, very good and informative live streams there. And I usually try to get in on those guys as well. So you can find me over there throughout the week. And for now, this is mine. And as we build it and hopefully get some people interacting, hopefully we'll dive in and try to join in a live stream every now and then. Like I said, through StreamYard, follow the link in the comments, and that will get you into StreamYard, and we can have a live discussion in person through this wonderful thing called technology. That's going to be it for me tonight, guys. I appreciate you watching. And if you haven't hit that like button, go down, hit that like button for me. It helps these live streams grow and help become popular and get us the viewership we need to have better discussions and better interactions, I think. So definitely hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to me, you can do that too if you like. No pressure there, but it always helps. But anyways, I think that's going to be it for me tonight. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.